Today on the show, we're going to talk about our favorite games on the SNES online for the Nintendo Switch.
We're also going to talk about how it differs from the SNES Classic that came out.
We're also going to end up with what games we'd like to see added to the SNES online. This and more today on PowerTalk. PowerTalk. All right, joining us as always, forever and all, is the Retro Gaming Maniac.
Josh, hey everybody!
So thankful that you're here with us.
Thanks.
You can go check his channel out. Josh, I'll give you a second here to plug your channel.
All right, guys. So on YouTube, I'm a Retro Gaming Maniac. I do game reviews, product reviews. We do a podcast. We do some of everything. We do a horror insider show, epic moments in gaming history, a whole bunch of cool stuff. So just come by and say hello.
Yeah, go check him out. His channel's definitely got a lot of content on there. We kind of found each other how many years ago? 3 or 4 maybe?
At least 4, yeah.
Yeah. So we've connected a few times, made a few videos together. The Halloween video, I believe, still is kind of underrated, needs to be seen more. It was such a good video.
That was a fun video to make.
Yeah, that was really fun. So Josh, RGM, what are your favorite games that are on the SNES online for the Nintendo Switch?
Well, a few of them I haven't played, but obviously one of my favorite games on the Super Nintendo is the Super Mario World. That's a great one. Mario Kart. Super Metroid, that's a heavy hitter.
Yeah,
so
that's the thing about this. They came out with a lot of heavy hitters, I think, on the Super Nintendo Online. I mean, they really did good for the first initial 20, I think, especially for not having an additional price point for the Super Nintendo games.
Yeah, and the way they rolled it out was a little different as well compared to the NES Classic, where they gave you like 4 games. You know, they gave you, I forgot how many games when they released the SNES Classic, but they gave you a lot of good games when they rolled that out. So
yeah, I think they knew they kind of needed to spruce it up a little bit because the talk online about the Super Nintendo Switch the gameplay has been, I mean, buzzing for months now.
Oh yeah,
I mean
they kept putting it off. They kept saying,
"Oh
no, there's no SNES coming to the
Switch." Yeah, they told us that, and that's funny because we were getting mad about this months ago. I remember getting an uproar about no Super Nintendo on there, or at least some form of a virtual console.
Yeah,
and they finally rolled it out the day after the Nintendo Direct, which is really nice. Kind of a nice surprise. We kind of also knew it was coming, but like you said, they kept pushing it back. I know on that list for me, like you said, Super Metroid, The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, and Super Mario World, obviously, for me, are the big 3 on there. I love each of those. They're both top 10 games for me on the Super Nintendo by far. And so they give us the rewind from the get-go, too, which is really nice.
Yeah, that was actually nice. That was something I noticed just when I was messing around with the settings. How it said you could just rewind it if you messed up or something. I thought that was really cool.
I like that, especially for games like Super Ghouls and Ghosts. To me, is one of the most
the game's brutal,
difficult games, not just probably on the Super Nintendo, but of all time.
Yeah, I'll tell you one game that's on there that I really enjoy is Demon's Crest.
Yes.
That is a game I actually have on Super Nintendo. I have Gargoyle's Quest and Gargoyle's Quest 2 on the NES. So I was really happy to see Demon's Crest because that's a game, unless you do play a ROM, it's a hard game to find.
Right, that one is a hard game to find. You're right about that. I actually started playing that the Demon's Crest on the Super Nintendo Classic. I never did finish it, but it's a fun game. It kind of reminded me of a little bit of ActRaiser, you know how you kind of you're flying over the villages and you kind of swoop down and go in and then
Oh yeah.
you're fighting and then side scrolling. I mean, it's kind of like ActRaiser, and that's what it reminds me of a little bit. But it's definitely its own game. Playing
Yeah,
the demon in
the
this
music
case.
in that game is good. The
Right.
one thing I noticed they took away from the in Demon's Crest as a in Gargoyle's Quest 2, basically they allowed you to fly, but you could only fly for so long. Demon's Crest, they took away that that gauge, and now you kind of fly as
Right.
long as you want. So in some ways, it made it a little too easy, I think. But
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely still fun playing. It's definitely kind of different being the demon for a change versus
yeah,
always being the the human.
oh yeah,
Stunt Race FX. I always kind of liked that as a kid, and that one I think is kind of a nice addition because that game was so hard to emulate.
yeah.
It was like never emulated correctly that I had found. So it was nice for them to add that so we can actually play a copy or a version of it that plays as it should play as it did on the Super Nintendo. It's not the best game in the world, but I enjoyed it as a kid and renting it because it was just that FX chip that it had in that style or that
Each
graphical style.
cartridge had that extra chip in it that allowed
Yeah,
it to play, and the graphics back then were pretty similar to Star Fox, really, but they
Super
were
Star
very
Fox.
impressive for the time.
Yeah, yeah, and I remember being in all of that, renting that, and I rented that game several times because of just to see the graphics, really. But we enjoyed it. We had fun with it, even though it didn't really stand up to today's time. I don't think. Uh,
Yeah.
of course, let's see what else is good. Breath of Fire. I've played Breath of Fire on the Game Boy Advanced version. I've never played the Super Nintendo version actually, but
I
uh,
haven't either.
it's also a very good game. And oddly enough, you turn into a dragon on that game. Just kind of like on Demon's Crest, you kind of turn into a demon-looking creature, although it's a dragon. But of course, F-Zero, another classic, hard to beat that. I hope that this is some sort of a foreshadowing to a new F-Zero that we might get later on down the
Yeah.
road. Because was F-Zero is F-Zero on the SNES Classic? They left it
Let's
off.
take a look. I have it pulled up here. It is on the SNES Classic.
Okay, okay.
So
Well, it's definitely something they need to bring back in.
Hi, my Nina.
My son's got his cat here.
nice.
Um, Pilot Wings, another good game.
Oh
Can't
yeah.
go wrong with that. Classic music, classic gameplay. Super Tennis. I've not really played it, that or Super Soccer, too much to be quite honest. And then the Brawl Brothers probably a little bit surprised me. And I think they might have just threw it on there to kind of differentiate itself from the SNES Classic a little bit. But
Yeah.
I don't know that was my favorite choice of beat 'em ups to be put on here, but it is something different and probably one that got overlooked, years ago. And it definitely was overlooked by me. I know that.
It was it's a decent choice. I think it's a game a lot of people didn't know about. Do you remember that really cheesy fighting game they put on the Super Nintendo? What was that called? It had like the front cover looked like something from like Saved by the Bell, like 90s.
Was it Rival Turf maybe? Or?
Rival Turf? Yeah. Just be glad we didn't get that one.
Right, that's true. If we get the Californian, the Slater, the muscle guy,
Exactly.
Screech. Joe and Max 2, Lost in the Tropics.
Good game. I love the Joe and Matt games.
Yeah, me too. Me and my brother used to play that. It's a fun multiplayer game, at least. I remember my brother used to play that a lot. Kirby's Dream Land 3. That, and I kind of like Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, which I was really glad that they included that because it's Yoshi's Island is one of the games, I guess technically a Super Mario game that I've never beaten through.
Yeah.
We rented it a ton, but I never got, of course somebody else rent the game. They delete your save file.
Yeah.
And you don't get a chance to finish the game, so I might actually get to do that. But I like the Kirby Dream Land 3 and the Super Mario World 2's kind of art style. They're both kind of sketch and pad. Is that how
Yeah,
you?
they have almost like a cartoon sketch look to them.
Yeah.
Pastel or something. It's very cool art style the way they did that.
I like both of those, and my son actually likes to play Kirby's Dream Land 3, so it's another nice touch for me. That's good, something to keep him busy on. And then the Super Earth Defense Force.
Great shooter.
I actually love that game.
Yeah, it's a good game.
It's Gradius 3 if it was an RPG, I guess, because it has the level up system, which is really, really cool. I think it's a nice addition to a flight shooter game like that. Very cool. And then of course the surprise Super Puyo Puyo 2.
Yeah.
Completely in Japanese, isn't it?
And it's squeezed in on the very bottom left of the game selection menu.
Yeah. It's
Puzzle
a
game. I actually
puzzle
tried
game,
it. It's
isn't
not
it?
bad.
Yeah, yeah. Is it kind of like Columns for the Genesis? Is that what it's?
Yeah, it is. But it's got that quirky Japanese feel to it.
Right.
It's kind of fun, even if I can't read any of it.
Okay, so how is it? What makes this different? I mean, online in the forums and in different websites and things, people are kind of going crazy that, and I myself, I did a reaction video of the Super Nintendo online for the Switch, and I kind of went crazy for it. A lot of people are they're really, really excited about the Super Nintendo Classic or Super Nintendo Online for the Switch.
Yeah.
Why is everybody going nuts about this, but everybody was kind of, mundane, just kind of normal about the SNES Classic? What has brought the excitement on the Switch? What differentiates the Classic from the Switch Online?
I think just how easy it is to pick up and play. You ain't got to plug it into a TV. You take it with you. Everybody loves having those games at home, But the fact that now you get, how many games did they release? Like 20 games or something?
20
for
games.
the SNES Online. But yeah, I think it's the ability to just pick it up and take it with you makes a big difference. A lot of the SNES games translate very well into like a pocketable, portable handheld,
Right.
So I think that's something that really is exciting for people. And
Yeah.
me personally, the SNES games tend to be a little more deep than the NES games, which sometimes have like an arcadey feel to them.
Yes.
Where once you get into the 16-bit, you can have better graphics, deeper stories, everything. So it's a little more exciting to me. But
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think you hit the nail on the head, being able to, have it portable, pick it up, take it with you, go anywhere with it, versus the SNES Classic where it's kind of more stationary at home. Definitely a cool collector's item, and definitely fun to see something kind of sitting on your shelf resembling that Super Nintendo of old. I think maybe the Super Nintendo Classic is probably more for your people who hasn't played the Super Nintendo in a long time.
Yeah.
They kind of just they want to. Okay. Go ask mommy. She'll get you Yoshi in there. But I think the Classic is more for the person who just wanted to relive their SNES days of glories, versus the Switch SNES Online is more for the hardcore gamer, more for the gamer who really, really appreciates the Super Nintendo for what it is. For those who got really excited about it, because I know like somebody commented on my video like, "Oh, you got all excited for Super Nintendo games," and the Direct was absolutely loaded, and he kind of had a point. Like I didn't get super excited about anything but the Super Nintendo Online, but I was just so happy to see that because now I can play these games on the go, which means a lot.
It makes a huge difference. I mean, we can play these games at home already, even without the SNES Classic. We already have the systems.
Right.
But being able to just pick it up, take it with you is a big deal. And also with the SNES Online, you have to look forward to the fact that more games are going to be released. Where with the SNES Classic, you're kind of just stuck with whatever it advertised on the box.
Right. You're right. You topped out. At least they did get. I mean, they did get some good games. They got their Earthbound and.
They got all the heavy hitters.
They got a lot of games to stay busy, but eventually, we hope the SNES Online will overtake the Classic and have a few more games than what it has on this list. Also note that I call the Super Nintendo the SNES, and Josh calls it the SNES. Yeah. So I would be happy to see in the comments what you guys call it, the SNES.
What's the correct way to say it?
Or SNES, either which way. Oh, you hear that sound right there, Josh?
I do.
That sound means it's time for Name That Game.
Okay.
This is a random question where we're going to ask every week. Josh is going to get hit with a question and he has no idea what's coming.
I don't.
This is a true thing. He has no idea what's coming.
We get ready for it.
He has no. I didn't plan this with him before, but we're going to ask him a random question about a retro video game each week, and we're going to see if he can get it right or get it wrong and be shameful.
See if I'm a true gamer or not.
Right, to see if he's a true gamer. All right, Josh. In Castlevania, Simon Belmont's whip, the vampire killer, is his main weapon of choice. But he has five sub-weapons which appear by whipping candlesticks off the wall. Can you name 3 of those 5 sub-weapons? And you've got 10 seconds and the time starts now.
Okay, he's got his whip. He's got his cross that he throws. He's got, I think, a lantern of some sort. Maybe a vial. Oh, and he's got like a... I can't remember.
And time is up.
I got like 1.5.
You got 1. You got 1 out of 5.
Oh, gosh.
So we got the dagger, the axe, the holy water, which was the vial that you were trying to get out.
I remember that one.
The cross and the stopwatch.
Okay. So Castlevania, not very good at the games. I do enjoy playing them, but I haven't played that many of them in depth. But my favorite one is, of course, Castlevania 4 and Symphony of the Night.
Yeah,
so I've played more of those than I have the original NES one, but
I agree. So, guys, what should we do? He gets negative 1,000 points and hang his head in shame.
Yeah, I'll be
he gets to wear
behind next week. I've got to catch up.
Yeah, he's got to put the dunce hat on for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Okay. Back now to the final segment here. And this is the most important segment. We kind of touched on this just a few minutes ago, that this Nintendo is going to release some more games for the SNES Online, or the SNES. Josh, what games would you like to see added to that list?
Well, glad you asked. I would like to see the Final Fight series.
Good choice. Excellent choice.
Good, solid beat-em-ups. And also I'd like to see Cybernator and Mech Warrior.
Oh, wow. That's a couple I hadn't thought of.
Yeah. So Cybernator would be great. That's a very underrated game.
I don't think I've never played that.
It's like Gundam Wing, but like in 2D.
Yeah,
super
all right.
epic. Yeah, you can shoot, fly around. You use like boosters. Your character feels really heavy, like your mech, and you can even leave the mech. I believe in Cybernator. Maybe I'm thinking of the other one. Metal Warriors, I think, is the one.
Yeah.
You can leave the mech, and you're like this little tiny person walking around.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so games like that a lot of people probably haven't played. But that would be some games I'd like to see. The Final Fights, Cybernator, and Metal Warriors.
I know one that jumps out, just completely off the screen at me, and that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, yeah.
Turtles in Time. I'd absolutely love to have that on the go. Correct me if I'm wrong. Were they going to add some sort of online play to the Super Nintendo? Online? Wouldn't that be incredible if you could hook up 4 players on Turtles in Time? I don't think it was ever meant for 4 players, but even 2 players. If I could play, like, you're sitting in Georgia and here I am in Kentucky, if we could play Turtles in Time on the Switch together, how amazing that would be. I just think that would be.
You can, actually. It looks like, I'm looking at it now, there's an option for 1 player, 2 player, and to play online with the SNES Classic currently.
Yes. Oh my gosh, we have got to get Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Time. That will be epic online. And something else that jumps out at me right off the bat is Mega Man X. I'd like to see X2 and 3 actually jump on there, because a lot of people's played Mega Man X, but the harder ones to get and to find was X2 and 3 by far.
Oh yeah.
X2 with probably being the pinnacle of those games. It's a really, really good game. And obviously, I'm a huge role-playing game fan, so I'd like to see some RPGs thrown on there. And not just like the Earthbounds and the Secret of Mana. Of course, we just got the Mana collection on the Switch anyway, so I would like to see something like the Seventh Saga, something that's off the beaten path, maybe Lufia 2, some of those types of games if possible. I know there's some more that's escaping me that I can't really think of. I'm looking over across here at my games. Secret Evermore, that's one
that's a good one.
I would like to finish playing. I actually started that one on the Classic too, but that one's kind of different when it's extremely difficult if you don't grind for a while.
Yeah, to me, it's a little more difficult than Secret of Mana.
Yes.
A lot of people didn't like Secret Evermore though.
Yeah, I agree. Here's one I just kind of glanced at. Illusions of Gaia. Would love.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and the predecessor to it. It's what's it called? Billy and the Game Chasers absolutely loves the game.
I know which one you're talking about. I just can't remember the name.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
What do you think about the Street Fighter games coming to the Switch?
Yeah, that with online gameplay, that would be insanity.
If I'm not mistaken, I know they have the Street Fighter games already separately on the Switch, but to have the original ones added to the SNES library would be pretty cool.
Yes, you could have tournaments and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would be insane. Like it would be like 90s all over again. People having tournaments at the arcade.
Oh yeah.
Soul Blazer is the other one.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I would love to see the third installment to that series, the Terra Enigma. It's there's a fan translated version out there. The game is absolutely out of this world good. It is so much fun. It's kind of right along the line, same vein of Illusions of Gaia and Soul Blazer as far as gameplay. Mm-hmm. But to me, it's probably the best gameplay of all three, and it's really really fun. Soul Blazer is a really good game too. So it's not to be. I'm not trying to undermine it or anything, but I'd like to see all three of those games actually put on the SNES Online.
Oh yeah, I'm wondering if you think they'll run into any problems or difficulty in getting some of these titles, online, or you think they're just gonna do like their first party titles?
I wonder about that myself, like with licensing issues and things like that. And what I think is a possibility that could happen is they would get a temporary license on a game. So kind of like Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so here's Illusions of Gaia. You've got 3 months to play it, and then it's going to go off, and they'll take it away.
I hope that's not what they're doing with the SNES right now.
I know. I can imagine them not really taking every game away, but I can kind of imagine them, unless they're first-party titles. Yeah. I can imagine them taking some games away and then adding some more games, and then kind of rotating them on and off.
Shuffling them.
Yeah, shuffle them. I also hope that's not the case. I hope what's on there is going to be on there for a good long time. But with Nintendo, you never know. I mean, it's kind of a toss-up there. It's kind of strange with their IPs. I mean, for good reason too. But they do things a little bit differently sometimes, and that's good that they've innovated a lot, and I'm happy for that. But I really want this SNES Online to take off because I want GameCube games next.
Me too.
So
64, GameCube.
Yes.
I'm ready.
Yeah, me too. All right. Well, I guess that'll bring us to the end of the show. And to wrap up, I just want to let you all know that you can find us out there on iTunes and on Podbean. If you type in Super Johnson Brothers is what we're going to be under. We're a partner show to Game Debate, which is ran by Nick Johnson and Will Johnson and myself. And we're over on iTunes under Super Johnson Brothers. This podcast as well, you can find it under Super Johnson Brothers as well as on YouTube and Podbean. Thank you so much for tuning in this week, and until next week, we'll see you then. Be good and keep gaming.
All right, have a good one.